Last time we learned about the details of the heads of carnivores and herbivores. Today it's time to take a closer look at reptiles and birds. The reptile heads are the simplest of all we've drawn so far. These two ellipsoids encapsulate almost the whole shape of the head. There's no need to add a detailed nose or ears. The eye areas are placed on the sides and they're slightly tilted towards the front. To draw the mouth, you need to draw this curve over the last third of the muzzle. Then the lips curve to the other side, while embracing the big sphere of the head. In the snakes, this second curve is not present. The first curve continues on towards the back of the head. In tortoises, the curve is flipped. The front of the mouth can be curved as well, especially in the reptiles that use their tongue to scent the air. The lips in the back may be thicker in big reptiles. The nose is very simple. It's just a tubical nose hole surrounded by the meaty nostrils. They will be constructed the same way as all the other noses we have drawn earlier, but once you know the general idea behind their shape, you can draw it without any guidelines. Snakes, tortoises, and many lizards may not have any nostrils at all. The eyeballs are protruding and rotated slightly towards the front. They're covered with meaty eyelids, similar on top and bottom. The lower eyelid may be rounder than the upper one. The snakes, however, don't have any visible eyelids. The eyeballs are protected by big bony ridges on top. They're thick and flattened, always longer than the eyeball. Then, if the skin around the eyes isn't covered with big hard scales, the eyelids may create folds and wrinkles in this area. The eyes of reptiles come in all shapes and sizes. The pupil can be vertical, round, or even horizontal, although the latter is very rare. Often the eyeball around the iris is visible as well. The top of the head is flat and often surrounded by these two extra ridges on both sides. The top of the muzzle is pretty flat as well. Bigger lizards, like Komodo dragons and monitor lizards, may have pretty big nose holes hidden under the skin, so this area may be slightly bulging. This part of the muzzle may be slightly concave. The lower edge of the jaw should be close to the lips. Then the bottom of the head curves inward. The jaws can be connected with the eye area in this place, but it's mostly visible in the bigger species. Also, the ear hole can sometimes be visible in the back, in the connection between the head and the neck. And the whole head of a lizard is done. Birds will be pretty simple as well. A big part of the head can fit inside a long, white ellipsoid. The beak, no matter how complex, can be described with an ellipsoid as well. Then you only need to mark its curve. The eye area is similar to the reptiles, except the eyeball can be rotated strongly to the front for better depth perception. The size of the eyes is not linked to the size of the bird. The eyelids are narrow, and they often have distinctively colored edges. The eyeball is protected on top with this ridge that protrudes to the sides. It's very visible in birds of prey, but in many birds it blends into the rest of the head. Because birds are not ambush predators, they have the round pupils only. Small species often have the iris so dark that the pupil is not visible at all. Larger species usually have a brighter iris, although there are exceptions. The beak is a pretty complex structure, so let's take a look at it step by step. The front part of the beak can be divided into the actual beak and the nose area. This will help you draw the curve of the lips. First, it will follow the top curve of the beak. Then it will curve along the sides of the big ellipsoid. And then it will curve along the big sphere of the head. This is how big the actual mouth is under the skin. However, the corners of the lips will be visible here near the eye. Once you have these shapes, you can outline the lower jaw. The nose holes are simple holes close to the head. If a part of the beak is covered with skin, however, they can form basic nostrils. The beak is covered in a couple of places. First, the forehead covers the base of the beak. Second, there's this hollow between the eye and the beak. It's usually covered with skin and hair-like feathers only. Third, the feathers on the lower jaw may reach into the beak while keeping the lips bare. And fourth, it's the place where the neck starts under the beak. Most birds don't have real round cheeks, but the feathers in this area may give such an impression, so it's good to draw this oval here. Then you can add this curve to separate the feathers on the top of the head from the feathers on the sides. Birds don't have hair, but they can have plenty of whiskers created from hair-like feathers. They usually appear near the nose and under the beak. That would be all. Today you learned how to draw reptile and bird heads with all the details. Next time we're going to achieve some extra freedom by learning how to draw open mouths. And as an exercise for today, I want you to draw one head of a reptile and one head of a bird.